the housing market crash in 2024? We'll cover that today on Frequently Asked Friday. What is going on, party people? Today we're going to cover the question that we've been getting a lot in many different forms. Some of you might have been asking yourselves, is the housing market going to crash in 2024? There's certainly been no shortage of headlines in the news, on TV, on social media, a lot of people with a lot of opinions talking about a crash in the housing market. Interesting enough, according to a recent Lending Tree poll, 44% of Americans think that we are going to see a housing crash in this year, and another 33% said they weren't quite sure whether or not we would actually see a housing market crash this year. So we got to ask ourselves, why are people asking this question? Well, in Metro Richmond alone, we've seen 55% growth in the median home price in just the last 5 years. That is an insane amount of growth, given that we typically see anywhere between 3 to 4% home price appreciation is like the 50-year average. We're also at a 30-year low for housing affordability when you take into account wages, home prices, and mortgage rates. And a lot of this is also wishful thinking. 32% of non-homeowners in the United States, based on a recent poll, said that a housing crash is the only way that they foresee themselves being able to afford a home. So I've got good news for you and I've got bad news for you. Experts are saying that a housing market crash is an unlikely event. Like any other market, the housing market is driven by supply and demand economics, and the reality is demand is still constant and the supply simply isn't there. And you might be asking yourself, why is that the case? So two big reasons. Number one, from the years of 2009 to 2018, we significantly underbuilt the amount of new construction homes that we typically build on a 50-year average. We had the housing industry, that specifically new construction, got absolutely whacked with the last global recession. There was a lot of folks that were in the new construction trade that simply got out of the construction industry. That industry has been understaffed for a number of years, and there was just a ton of homes that we did not build during that time period. Secondly, now that we went through the pandemic, where we had a season of very low 2 to 3% interest rates, we have a lot of homeowners in the United States that are sitting on very cheap mortgage rates that are reluctant to sell or reluctant to put their house on the market because they don't want to walk away from such a attractive interest rate that they currently have. On top of that, reason 2.5 or reason 3, we have a large chunk of the millennial generation that is still needing to buy a home, wanting to buy a home, and we now even have the oldest Gen Zers that are starting to enter into the home buying years. So another way to look at that is the month supply of inventory, which is simply a metric that we track that is able to show you the relationship between current demand and the current supply in the market. As a country, you'll see we're sitting in about 4 months supply of inventory right now, which means that we are still in a seller's market. And I'll leave you with a recent quote from Forbes. As already high home prices continue to trend upward, you may be concerned that we're in a bubble ready to pop. However, the likelihood of a housing market crash, a rapid drop in unsustainably high prices due to waning demand remains low for 2024. So to answer your question, do we predict that we're going to see a housing market crash in 2024? I simply don't think so. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, fears, throw it in the comments, shoot me a DM. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next week.